Everything you said we already knew, more or less.
Well, here's something that you didn't know. 2 of those special atomic bombs haven't gone off.
Sequels that fans pretend never happened. Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. Here at Celeb, we love to talk about movies and celebrities, so we have decided to bring you yet another one of our interesting videos today. Today we're talking about sequels that fans pretend never happened. The Inbetweeners 2. The Inbetweeners was once one of the most popular UK teen TV series before it came to an end after the 3rd season, and it was then announced that there was a film in the pipeline. The series came to an official end in 2010, and the following year the first Inbetweeners movie was released. Whilst the first movie was met with rave reviews, 3 years later in 2014, the sequel was released but didn't receive the same kind of reception. The original movie received a 75% score from Rotten Tomatoes, but the sequel was unable to achieve the same, since it received a meager score of just 58%. Zoolander 2. Zoolander was originally released back in 2001 and saw Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson fight it out for the Best Male Model title. It was a hilarious movie that was considered a breath of fresh air. 15 years later, Stiller and Wilson returned to the big screen, but this time the script lacked the genius of the original. It received very lukewarm response. Many critics panned the sequel that took more than a decade to become a reality and didn't live up to expectations at all. The Hangover Part 3. The Hangover was a huge success, which could be why a second movie was then created and seemingly followed the same plotline. The cameos in the franchise included the likes of Mike Tyson and even Bill Clinton, but even these weren't considered enough to save it. The New York Times called the movie a dull, lazy walkthrough, as well as stating that it has a claim to be the year's worst star-driven movie, a quite shocking response from one of the best movies of 2007. Ted 2. The original Ted movie was released back in 2012 and was absolutely hilarious, but there was never any need for there to be a sequel, since one of the biggest issues with the second movie was the fact that Amanda Seyfried was called in to take Mila Kunis's place. Whilst Ted 2 received a score of 5.2 from Rotten Tomatoes, there are many critics who weren't a fan of the humor or the story arc that was involved in the second installment of the movie about the life-size talking teddy bear that all the kids wanted to see, but none of them were actually allowed. A Good Day to Die Hard. Die Hard is arguably one of the most popular Christmas movies of all time, but John McClane's adventures have continued over the last few decades and finally went out with a whimper in the 5th movie of the franchise. A Good Day to Die Hard back in 2013 proved that Bruce Willis was no longer able to pick up the mantle of McClane and is seen as easily the worst movie in the saga.